Over the first 50 days of his administration, Donald Trump has largely governed through the use of executive actions, 30 including memos and orders as of March 20th. Some of these executive actions include freezing federal hiring, restricting federal funds towards overseas abortion efforts, and withdrawing from the TPP. While much of the size of the government, including the Departments of State, of Justice, and of Transportation, will be reduced under the Trump administration, President Trump will undoubtedly force the states to accept his interpretation of healthcare reform. Though Trump pledged to the American people to drain the swamp of the corrupt banking industry's influence on the American people, Trump has not been anything like Jackson. In fact, many of the executives of the banking firms he condemned during his campaign now hold appointed positions in his cabinet. In this way, Trump is like Jackson, who used the spoils system to reward those that supported his campaign with government positions. Lastly, I'd like to talk about their removal of minority groups. Andrew Jackson is remembered as the president who signed the Indian Removal Act of 1830. The act authorized him to negotiate an agreement that removed Indians from any land west of the Mississippi River. With heavy support from the South, Congress passed the Removal Act just 2 years after Jackson came into office. NPR's Steve Inskeep argues the act was questionable because it basically forced Indians to volunteer for their relocation because the U.S. government pressured their leaders to agree. Jackson forced the Indian removal on the grounds that their refusal to conform to American culture was dangerous to the new democracy he had worked so hard to establish. His initiative led to the Trail of Tears, the forced transfer of more than 46,000 Indians during the bitter winter to holding camps in Oklahoma. Conservative estimates of the death toll average at around 8,000. President Trump has proposed initiatives that severely impact minority groups similar to Jackson's Removal Act, including his idealized wall, vows to remove aliens, suspension of visas, removal of sanctuary cities, and suspension of immigrants from Islamic countries. By likening minority groups to outsiders, he draws further comparisons to Jackson's Removal Act, garnering support through populism by appealing to the isolationist mentality of their followers. Though he initially vowed to suspend all immigration from Muslims from entering the United States, he changed his position in favor of suspending immigration from areas of the world where there is a proven history of terrorism against the United States, Europe, or our allies. His new executive order bans foreign nationals from 6 Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. for 90 days and bans all refugees for 120 days, but exempts those with green cards or valid visas. According to the Washington Post, Trump's initial travel bans could have affected up to 90,000 people. While Travel Ban 2.0 was also blocked, Trump and his team are patiently waiting for the opportunity for further reform. Many people, such as historian Dan Feller, are shocked when hearing how President Trump mirrors Andrew Jackson, and even go so far as to reject the notion. However, President Trump himself and his chief strategist Steve Bannon have embraced the comparison by hanging a portrait of Jackson in the White House and by visiting Jackson's hermitage in Nashville. Presidential power will ultimately reach new heights as Trump exploits the limits of the law. Politics have expanded hugely since Jackson's presidency, and running a country encompasses much more responsibility today than in 1836. The political realm of the Jacksonian democracy is transparent, such that we have historically hurt members of society who are marginalized by forcing measures to encompass the general will while ignoring the weaker voice. While Jackson's actions were limited by his time period, in 2017, foreign relations can quickly go nuclear, resulting in a total war. Thank you again for this opportunity. Any questions? Yes.
I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In that last point that you made about, I can't remember how you worded it, but about comparing Andrew Jackson's treatment of Native Americans to Trump's inflammatory comments and policies about Muslims, etc. One thing I was wondering is that was there a real resistance on the part of people in the U.S. to any large groups' resistance to Andrew Jackson's policies, the way there is now a really organized resistance to Trump's policies?
No. The politics of the 1800s were so different from today. The majority of Jackson was an extremely popular president, and most of the people during that time period were white, wealthy, slave-owning, Indian-hating men who supported his removal act in full force.
Thanks, that makes sense.
Yes.
I really liked your presentation, Whitney. It's very well researched, very well presented. Now you're going to have me thinking about what kind of tweets Andrew Jackson might do. I know it's too early to make any assessment of the Trump presidency, but did you get any time to look and think and contemplate on Jackson? Clearly, the removal act would be distasteful. Did you find redeeming qualities, anything like that coming out of the Jackson presidency?
Yes, so Jackson was extremely popular for many reasons, and he really changed the way that people viewed the presidency. And his use of newspapers was the beginning of the media in politics. So I think that was one big takeaway. Regarding the removal act, I know that removing the Indians from the lands provided many new economic resources for American people. So it did help out the economy a little bit in that aspect. Any other questions? Yes.
You talked about their foreign policies, but you mostly talked about how they're similar. Are they different?
So the largest takeaway and the easiest way to sum it up about the differences between Jackson and Trump are that while they both appeal to people as a common man, Jackson served in the Army. That's where he gained a lot of support. He waged wars against the Indians. He was in politics for years before he ran for the presidency. Trump took up politics as a hobby. He is quoted in the beginning, during his campaign, "I received a small loan of $10 million or $10,000, something not a small loan for most of us." So I think their approaches to appealing to people as a common man were different, and just where they came from is the most important difference. Any other questions? Yes.
So you touched on Trump's social media platform, but did you find it difficult to keep up with this project because his policies are constantly being shut down and his opinion is changing?
Yes, so that posed a major issue. I started this presentation in August under I almost want to say naive assumption that Trump would not win. I thought there was no possibility for that whatsoever. So come November 8th, the day that this paper was due, I was at loss. I had to withdraw from the conference that I planned on attending. It wasn't so hard to keep up with. My research on Jackson was solid, but I've been working on this constantly. It wasn't so bad. It wasn't as bad as you would think it would be. I just had to keep up with news, which I think better prepared me for my Q&A session. So it overall benefited me really well. Yes?
If Jackson was president today, if he has some of those same characteristics as we're saying Donald Trump has, do you think he would have been more successful in the first 100 days than what Donald Trump was?
I don't think so. I mean, if he had the same constituents as he did in the 1800s, but with the politically charged and largely liberal audience that we have, and just the social movements that have organized the protests that we've had in opposition to Trump, I think they would have been just as strong against Jackson as they have against President Trump. Yes.
Do you think Trump will end up on the $20 bill?
I'm going to have to say that's a hard no. Thank you, guys.